Hello, welcome back to the James Ramblin' Show. So you're telling me that Robert Deniro, at 81 years old, is still got it? So yeah, hello, welcome back. We kind of just jumped into like a New Yorker gangster accent, as I'm gonna be reviewing for you the Alto Knights 2025, which is the most recent Robert De Niro kind of film, and I'll give you a bit of context and stuff like that. And so before we get into this, and there will not be spoilers as I just saw this last night. And yes, it was on April Fool's. So there's definitely all of that. And so where to start with the context is that Robert De Niro, famously known for the, movie Taxi Driver, 1976, absolutely amazing. You've got Goodfellas and all of this stuff. And he was also in a movie called Killers of the Flower Moon, which I kind of just kind of forgot about after a while. So, he's been this actor in his prime where he's really young, and then when he's older, you can start to see maybe things are starting to change, and so there's all of that. But if I was to describe what this movie is about, is what you have here without spoiling, is Robert De Niro plays two different characters. One called Frank Costello, and there's this other character that he plays. And these two characters, if I mentioned them, more than once about what happens, it would spoil it. So you just go in blind and figure out what the other character's name is, you know. And so there's definitely all of that. And I feel like the trailer for this movie didn't really sell me on it properly. Like it's like Robert De Niro and he's playing two different characters and he's the same dude doing the same thing twice, and it was like, oh, it looks weird. And so it's definitely all of that, and it's also 2 hours long. So how do I actually feel about this movie? So if you couldn't tell from the build up we had there in my New Yorker accent, I'm super duper surprised that, Robert De Niro actually locked in when it came to this film. And what I really do like about the Alto Knights is that his performance is actually really good, really entertaining. I was laughing quite a lot during this movie. I will say that the pacing, I would say that the first two or three thirds of the movie, it does feel like you're really invested. But then there's a point where the movie kind of drags on, and it's like, does that really need to keep going? But if you consider that it is, if you want to say this as an excuse, right, you could say, oh, of course it has to be this long because it's a mafia story set in the 1950s, and that's all I'll say on that front, right? Set in the mafia story set in the 1950s, so of course there's going to be a big storyline. But so there's definitely all of that, and so yeah, I would say that Robert De Niro's performance is good. The pacing is kind of not the greatest, but it is enjoyable and it's entertaining. And I would say as well that it does nail down the vibe of the 1950s here. Like you get those black and white scenes, and you're just like, yeah, they nailed down the environment and the story it's trying to tell here. They know what they knew the vision they were aiming for, and they went for it. And I did mention as well that the double role stuff with Robert De Niro, how he's playing two characters, it does it feels weird at first, and you kind of, as you watch the movie, have to understand why he plays these two roles and stuff like that. And there's especially some parts of the cinematography. If I'm gonna complain about the movie here, the cinematography, it is really good in certain sections, but then it cuts really fast in between both of the characters. So if you were to walk out, if you were to go and do the toilet or get a drink during this movie, you would be absolutely confused. So definitely stay tuned for the entire movie. So honestly, out of 10, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's like above average, watchable enough entertainment that honestly I could see somebody watching this on the television screen. Like I wouldn't, like I as a like I would kind of see why you want to go and see this in the cinema. There's also an aspect in here where you're just like, yeah, you could absolutely watch this at home because it's not a new story either. Like I mentioned earlier, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, these mafia stories. I mean, even the Godfather trilogy and stuff like that. This is not the first mafia story, so there's definitely all of this to be considered. and there are certain points where you feel like there is a cinematic feel, but it does still have this notion of, yeah, this could, I could see somebody kind of just going and watching this in their home, because this was not a busy cinema either. There was like a few people, like maybe 10 to 15, but it was a small screen in a small cinema. So the picture hall was very small, so you could tell that this movie isn't like, blazing it up at the box office, not Naja 2 levels of fame or anything. But I still had a good time with this movie, and a really, really big surprise from Warner Brothers here. Like, wow, they decided to make an actual mafia story and stuff like that. So, yeah, enjoyed the film, and just wanted to get slightly in depth about how I felt. And I don't know why my eyes are starting, for some reason, got some tears of joy just thinking about this movie. It's just an amazing, surprising little film. So when you get the chance to watch it on streaming, because I do not think it's going to be out for very long in the cinema, and so if you get a chance, definitely go and watch it, as I recommend it. But I'm not going to deny there's flaws to it. So yeah, see you later, alligator. Peace out.